In the last several years since COVID, with the federal government pumping so much money into the economy and directing it towards states, we're on a bit of a sugar high.
State Senator Tom Leek is talking dollars and cents and how Flagler County will pay for its infrastructure needs.
State Senator Leek telling the Friday Free-for-All local governments have been flush with federal cash lately, but the money is running out.
You had to spend that money or it reverted back to the federal government. And quite frankly, if you let it revert back to the federal government, it goes into this black hole of spending that the state of Florida wouldn't approve of. So we thought it better to spend it on Floridians, which we did. And so with that federal money being gone, I would expect that you will see a return to normalcy on budgets. And the result will be, much fewer member projects.
Due to turnover in the state legislature, some are concerned the First Coast has lost its influence in Tallahassee, but Leek says residents shouldn't worry.
Not having a speaker always is a big deal. But I'll tell you, Sam Greco, he's a really smart guy, and he's on the climb. And I would expect to see great things out of Sam Greco as he goes forward. And, Flagler and St. John's and Volusia and Putnam, everybody's going to be fine. That process will play itself out, and we will be fine. But this is normal. Listen, if your listeners agree with term limits, then you're always going to face a resurgence or change in leadership. Every 8 years. That's what happens, and that's what's supposed to happen.
Tomorrow, we'll hear Leek's thoughts on how local governments pay for critical infrastructure projects.
Good morning, Flagler County. I'm Rich Carroll. You're listening to Flagler's Morning News on Thursday, December 26th.
My focus when I'm in Washington will be helping create the public goods that everyone benefits from.
State Senator Randy Fine says if elected to fill Mike Waltz's open congressional seat, he'll get right to work.
When asked during the Friday Free-for-All about Palm Coast and the area's infrastructure needs, Fine said he'll do what he can.
When it comes to federal roads, whether it's US 1 or our interstates, that's where the federal government has a role to play. And so I'll be making sure that we get our share of the pie while being responsible and trying to bring down the deficit and the debt. Because I will tell people this, if we continue to spend in Washington the way that we have been for decades, there won't be an America in our children's lives. And so we have to be focused on keeping our eye on the prize of having a sustainable country, which we do not have today.
As for the national debt, Fine says America is living on borrowed time.
I will tell you, if in my time in Washington, however long it has, I have not succeeded in getting the budget into balance and beginning to pay down the debt, then I will have failed the people who matter most to me, which is my children. Because what I know is this, the country may not go bankrupt today or next week or next month or next year, but I am absolutely certain that in the lives of my 13-year-old and 16-year-old, it will if we don't do something about it, and I'm unwilling to be responsible for that.
From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Daryl Newton.
So I look at the ideal city manager as, a high-powered CEO or the board of directors.
Palm Coast City Council member Charles Gambaro giving a glimpse of his ideal candidate for the new city manager.
The city of Palm Coast has launched its search for a new city manager, a position that plays a vital role in shaping the community's future. Strategic Government Resources, a full-service consulting firm renowned for its expertise in local government recruitment, has been engaged to manage the search process.
I'm looking for someone that's not willing to maintain the status quo, somebody that's willing to assume risk. I spent most of my life assuming risk. The consequences could have been really bad, right? And so, assuming risk in policy and within a city organization, I think if somebody's not willing to do that, then they don't need to be the city manager.
The recruitment phase is now underway with applications being accepted through December 29th. At that time, the Palm Coast City Council will begin its first review of applications.
You're always focused on ideology, what you believe and how you would do it. But when it comes to governing, you have to compromise, or you're never going to get anything done. We're seeing that in Washington right now. I think our council has done a great job to drive consent, to come together and agree on how to move forward.
The new city manager will be responsible for implementing the city council's strategic action plan, managing daily operations, preparing the annual budget, and ensuring the highest levels of transparency and service to the community. For Flagler's Local Morning News, I'm Karen Johnson.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.